showing these visuals recurringly on our screens to our viewers. Let me just take this question to you. It's too early to gauge the situation right now. As you have said, this may be followed by missile strikes next, missile attacks next. But where does Iran stand in terms of retaliation? Where does it stand in terms of preparation for a retaliatory attack? What are we expecting on that very front?
Since Israel has initiated the military action, then now the Iranian government will be under tremendous pressure to go for some kind of response. So, in fact, you can say that, the West Asia, there is another fire in West Asia. So this has triggered a conflict in West Asia, because now Iran Iran have to take some kind of action. And if they take a certain kind of action, if they go for military strike against Israel, then there is a possibility of a wider escalation, because U.S. Military presence is already there in the CENTCOM region. There are 2 aircraft carriers, USS Gerald Ford and USS Abraham Lincoln, positioned in Mediterranean as well as in the Arabian Sea. And in fact, a large number of U.S. military presence is also there. And in fact, if you see the previous statement by the Iranian government and Iranian officials, clearly indicating that if the Iran or Iranian facilities have been targeted, then there could be a wider conflict. Then entire region and all the U.S. interests will also be under fire, and yet they can also become a legitimate target for Iran to take on. So clearly, all these statements and provocative statements, now the action has started. We have to see that, how Iran calibrates its response, whether they will go for a calibrated response or they want to go for the large military action against Israel or for the US as well. Because, certainly there will be a US intervention. You can expect a US intervention in the region because of their military presence, and also as the net security provider for the Israeli interests as well as the military interests of the other Middle Eastern countries.
Pranay, do stay with us. Let me just take our viewers through these visuals yet again. Viewers, let's just update you with what's happening on our screens right now. There is several missile attacks that have struck Tehran. One on University Street and the other on Jamhuri area in Tehran. These are the first visuals that had come in. The sounds, the residents in Tehran could hear 3 major explosions in central Tehran. Just to paint a picture for what the situation is like on the ground at this point of time. The Israeli military has come out to say that schools across Israel have been closed. Public has been informed to work from home. Public gatherings in Israel has been banned. This comes in as quite a crucial announcement. Comes in as a very crucial warning to the people, which also implies that there might be an escalation that Israel and Iran are headed toward, because people, the civilians out there, have been warned to not step out, or at least not have any public gatherings. Schools and offices have been shut down in terms that the people have been asked to work from home. Again, if we are to speak of the multiple explosions, there is thick smoke, the cloud of smoke that we are speaking of, that has been seen rising from the vicinity of what's known as the Pasture Street in downtown Tehran. And these are the visuals that we are bringing to you from Tehran. 3 explosions, 3 parts that we are showing you on our screens that has taken place. And Israel has launched this preemptive strike against Iran to confront the imminent threats to this state. This is what we are learning at this given point of time, viewers. It is Defense Minister of Israel Katz, the Defense Minister Israel Katz, who has declared a special nationwide state of emergency, warning that a missile and drone attack on Israel's civilian population is expected imminently, which is what Pranay was also speaking of. At this point, whether it will be a calibrated attack, a calculated attack as a response to this very explosion, or whether there shall be a full-scale, what one may call as a war with the Israel and US on one side and Iran on the other, that's something we are still waiting to watch as things proceed from here. But this comes in as very concerning news in an already volatile, already unstable West Asia, where tensions were brewing for some time. We've seen how it has unfolded in the past 2-3 years itself, but there seems to be no end to these escalations. It in fact is headed towards a more concerning stage now. Pranay, coming back to you at this given point, let me just quickly understand one thing. You know, there's already been an entire conversation about the Iranian regime as well, and particular attacks and escalations that have taken place in the last few years. Where does Khamenei stand and Khamenei's regime stand when we are speaking of a US and an Israel consistently attacking Iran at this point of time? Is there a threat of regime change as we speak in Iran?
Definitely, Shreya, you can say that the Iranian government, Iranian Islamic regime is under tremendous pressure. And I think, as per many analysts from the United States and Israel think that this is the weakest moment, this is the weakest point for the Islamic Republic of Iran's government. And that's why if they want to go for the regime change, this is the best time, as per quote unquote, as per those analysts. And they think that this is a time to hit them hard and go for the regime change. We cannot say for sure that this can actually lead, because Iran is a huge country. Iran is a large country. Iran has its own, the IRGC has its own deep-rooted structure in Iran. So how successful this regime change operation could be? But certainly, this adds to complexity. This Israeli
right, Pranay. So that's what your thought process is at this given point of time, that there is a full possibility of a potential regime change. Because let us tell you, viewers, when we speak of Khamenei's regime, it has been under duress for the last few months, and it's not just from from pressure from the West or from Israel itself. We've seen how the situation has been extremely unrestful in the country as well, domestically speaking as well, with those protests that continued for the entirety of the period of the month of December in 2025. So there is domestic pressure mounting for Iran at this point of time. There is the West mounting their pressure as well.